You're watching the Seafood News Weekly video brought to you by the spring issue of Urner Barry's Reporter magazine. Volume 16, number 2 is our second issue of 2021 and features a special section on the state of the seafood industry, an annual review compiled by Urner Barry's seafood market reporters. The annual review includes 17 pages packed with insight, charts, and other data from the UB team. Secure your free copy today by visiting urnerbarry.com/reporter. I'm Seafood News Managing Editor Amanda Buckle.
And I'm seafood market reporter Lauren Castiglione. In our top story of the week, Peter Pan CEO Barry Collier is stepping down from his role as CEO. The company announced Tuesday afternoon that Collier, who has been with the company for over 30 years, will be transitioning into a senior advisory role for the company's ownership group. And that's not the only shakeup at the company. There's 3 new faces joining the executive team. Mark Foster, who previously held a consulting position with the company over the last few months, will be serving as Peter Pan's new chief financial officer. Steve Miner, who previously served as the executive director of North Pacific Crab Association, will be working alongside Foster as the manager of business development. Jonathan Thorpe, who recently served as the executive VP of market development for Blue Harvest Fisheries and VP of resource development for Mark Foods, rounds out the new hires. In his new position with Peter Pan, Thorpe will be working to increase access to swimming resources through investment, strategically aligned partnerships, and direct sourcing, in addition to developing downstream products and customers.
In other news, NOAA Fisheries announced that an additional $255 million will be allocated to states and territories with coastal and marine fishery participants who have been negatively affected by COVID-19. The new funding will be provided by the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021 and will support activities previously authorized under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act. Unfortunately, not everyone is thrilled with the news. Louisiana Congressman Garrett Graves says that the funding his state will receive makes no sense. During the first round of funding through the CARES Act, Louisiana was allocated $14.7 million out of the $300 million put aside for fisheries. During the second round of funding, the state will receive $12.4 million. Graves said that they slapped us in the face last year and then came back around while the wounds were still open.
Meanwhile, the snow crab quota from Newfoundland and Labrador keeps going up. Last year, the quota increased 10% from 2019. Now the quota is up 29% from 2020's total allowable catch of 29,551 tons. For 2021, the DFO has set the total allowable catch for areas 2J, 3K, 3LNO, 3Ps, 4R, 3PN, and the CPS trap survey at 38,186 tons. The season in Newfoundland and Labrador is scheduled to start in the first week of April, which is earlier than normal. 3LNO, 3Ps, 4R, 3PN kick off on April 5th, while 3K dates begin on April 14th for some crab management areas. No season dates have been announced yet for 2HJ or 2J South. The hope is for fishermen to be able to set traps before North Atlantic right whales begin to enter the waters in May. Although the season runs into June, the grounds could be closed to fishing due to whale sightings.
And finally, new shrimp alternatives could be hitting menus soon. New Wave Foods announced that they signed a non-exclusive agreement with Dot Foods to launch their new Wave shrimp product in North American restaurants and food service companies. For those unfamiliar with the product, it's made of sustainable seaweed and plant proteins to create a plant-based alternative to shrimp that is virtually indistinguishable from ocean shrimp in terms of taste, texture, and bite. The news of the agreement with Dot Foods follows New Wave Foods' recently announced $18 million Series A financing.
Thanks, Amanda. Now be sure to subscribe to our channel below and head over to seafoodnews.com or visit the Seafood tab in Comtel for a comprehensive look at the latest market and industry news.
And don't forget to listen to a new episode of the Seafood News Podcast released on Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes every week. Thanks for watching, and you
Be
well.